Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Winter's Wish, continuing Otaro's route. And we are on the hunt. We're going after Tanichibo. It's been a couple days since I played, so I was like, we did our ghost stories, and then I forgot everything else. I was kidnapped, pretending to be Ruriko. Tanichibo showed up. He's being puppeteered. Poor thing. You know, I feel bad for. I kind of find it interesting. I do like the fact that they kind of brought him back, and we're like, see, he was being puppeteered by Hibie, but because you didn't go down the Samurai Town arc, he's still being puppeteered. And to be fair, I would assume Okuni is still kind of being puppeteered by him too, because Ruriko mentioned the Celestial Maiden's robes kind of in passing and whatever, and we know Okuni was kind of responsible for that, so. The only thing we didn't do is bring back anybody from the Castletown arc, but, you know, we can assume that shit's still kind of going on because Hibie's manipulating everyone and everything, so. But I like that we're going after Tanichibo. I gotta like that they brought him back. He's such a douche, but like in a fun way. He's not like, God, what a douche. You're like, you're kind of a douche. I love it. He's kind of just an idiot, really, is what it is. But like, dude, he's an idiot with a little sprinkle of douche on top. But like the fun kind, you know? Anyway, our target was decided. From that day, the Oniwaban began using various methods of investigation in order to capture Tanichibo. Among us, Otaru and I were in charge of collecting information in the entertainment district. That was why we were at the red light district today, and we still have not remembered that Otaru is sus as fuck. I mean, because he can see threads. Why? Right, because Hibie was like, you're also one of the Hakusekis, and could have meant because he thought we were Ruriko, and he's thinking, hey, that bitch with that dude. Like me. Not realizing we were the same person. Which I feel like that's what they want you to think, but I'm wondering, like, Otaru can see threads, so something sus. Something sus! Everything has been sus about him from the fucking beginning. I just don't know what kind of sus it is. What kind of sus sauce is he? I don't know. You know? It's like a mystery challenge. Like, it's gonna be fun. Anyway, did I read that was why we were at the red light district today? But anyway, we determined it was more than likely that people had witnessed Tanichibo around the brothel where Ruriko had been imprisoned. However, there isn't even anyone here. It's time for the daytime open house, right? It should be lively with customers. There were so few people, I could have mistaken it for a place I'd never been to before. There were some stores open, but the only people standing in front of the displays were the owners of the brothels. Pops, how's it going today? Making bucks?
What does it look like? Look at these empty streets. Ain't nobody stupid enough to come here after what happened yesterday. Too scared of getting eaten. Jeez, what's a guy supposed to do?
And then the brothel owner let out a big sigh and returned inside. I just wanted to do a big sigh. Unsurprisingly, yesterday's public parade had caused many citizens to hole up inside their houses. The courtesans in the displays weren't calling out to the customers either, probably because they didn't want any people to come. Also, there's no customers to call out to, so what would be the point? To think that the world would change this much in just one night. We have to solve this case quickly. The people of Ito won't be able to live their lives.
An opening!
What? As I thought that, Otaru gently chopped my head with his hand. What? Otaru!
You had some mad wrinkles on your forehead. Are you tired? You were up all night yesterday on a mission.
That's... I've been awake all night in Ruriko's place, on top of what happened during the public parade. Despite taking my time to rest all night, my fatigue hadn't been completely lifted. You can't catch up on sleep. Yeah, I'm a little tired.
Thought so. Then why don't you take a break? I'll take over for you, so don't sweat it.
I don't know if I trust you. I mean, we're gonna fall in love with you, but I still don't know if I trust you. But, like, whatever. I trust that you won't let me get hurt because you're probably gonna be in love with me, and you are in love with me. But I'm still not 100% sure what kind of sus you are. But, like, whatever. No, I'll work hard too. Everyone in the Oniwaban's working through their fatigue. I can't be the only one resting.
You sure? I mean, we have different stamina, and I don't think you need to worry about it.
How about you, Otaro? Don't you need to rest? It was such a grueling battle. You must be tired too.
Well, yeah. But I didn't notice where Ruriko was locked up. And you know how I've been screwing things up recently? I have to work harder to make up for it.
You know, I want to take you at your word and be like, you mean every word of that. And so I'm just gonna. Even though there's a part of me that's like, do we believe I am having a fun time being suspicious of him, don't get me wrong. Oh. Again, it might be totally innocuous sus, you know? Totally fine. I don't know.
Besides, you can't blame me for wanting to look cool in front of someone I like.
Oh, look at him blushing! How adorable. Huh? After murmuring the last part to himself, Otaro walked deeper into the red light district. Perhaps because he was feeling embarrassed, Otaro was covering his mouth with his hand. Maybe, I mean, to be fair, you could say he's been screwing up recently because he's not on his A game. You know, like a normal vessel has no emotions. They're always on their A game. They're like robots. Now we taught a robot to love, so he's like, things don't compute anymore, and his wiring's all screwed up, so, like, he's gonna be on the C game, you know? What was that just now? He spoke those words so casually. I was frozen in place. There was a bizarre feeling, like a tightening in my chest. I think you're having a heart attack. You should go to the hospital. My chest again. It happened before, but it's become stronger since the public parade. This feeling, is it really...
Spacey, what are you standing around for?
But before I could start thinking about it, Otaro turned around from further down the street and waved his hand at me. No, it's nothing. I'm on my way. Snap out of it. I have to focus on the mission for now. Maybe you should try kissing him to see what happens. After that, Otaro and I did our best to talk to the few pedestrians that were there. And surprisingly, we managed to learn a few things about Kaigyo Tenichibo. That he was a Yamabushi monk, that he was in the middle of training, but he occasionally came down from the mountains and sold medicinal herbs, and that he had deluded himself into thinking that he was Lord Yoshimune's illegitimate son.
Well, that went easier than expected.
There weren't even that many people around. I wonder if Tenichibo was famous.
Well, it'd be hard to forget if someone introduced themselves as the illegitimate son of a shogun. At this rate, the others should get a lot of intel too. We should probably go back for now and share our information.
Excuse me. Uh-oh. I was like, honestly, I mentioned her when we started this, but I was like, she hasn't been shown up, but now here she is. To make trouble. That was when a familiar courtesan called out to us from a display nearby. She was Okuni. If I remembered correctly, she talked to us during the incident with Ruriko. Hello. I'm glad to see you're doing okay. Yes, thanks to you. More importantly, you had a hard time yourself, didn't you? Weren't you participating in the public parade at Ruriko's place yesterday? I mean, I don't hate Okuni. Like, she's nice and sweet, and it's like you just got yourself wrapped up with, you know, Hibie. And, like, you know. Huh? My mind stopped for a brief moment. There weren't that many people at the scene who would have noticed that I had been substituting for Ruriko. See, but then she knows that because of Hibie, probably. In fact, everyone in and the Oniwabon had been out of Lord Hibie's reach, so they hadn't noticed me at all. Anyone who was close enough to me that they could see that I had switched with Ruriko should have been absorbed by Lord Hibie. Why do you know such a thing? Well, because I was watching from the front row. Since we were living in the same brothel, I thought that I should at least see her last moments. But in the end, Ruriko wasn't there, and it ended in such a bizarre way, and Hibie would never hurt you because he loves you. Or, well, you're useful to him. I don't know if he really loves you, but... Okuni, I'm surprised you're safe. I thought I was a goner for sure. I'm still here thanks to Hibie overlooking me, and the fact that you know his name. Hibie?
Wait a second. You know about Hibie? See, she's letting her shit down.
Yes, we're acquaintances. Okuni nodded as if it was a given.
Oh, so she's not even trying to hide it. Okay.
The divine blightfall that even the Oniwabon deemed impossible to meet willingly. She was somehow acquaintances with such a being. Just who exactly was she? Otaro and I naturally tensed up, and Okuni squinted her eyes nostalgically. I lived with Hibie for a little while. It must have been, maybe a month ago. On that day, Okuni had opened a paper door of her room. The paper door of her room. Well, I was like, I got very confused. Opened the paper door of her room and was spacing out while enjoying the view outside. Usually, all she could see were the lively streets of the red light district, but something was clearly different that day. Huh? Is someone there? When Okuni happened to look right next to her, a ghostly man was standing still on top of the roof. And without noticing Okuni, he was staring out into the distance without blinking. His side profile was so beautiful that she couldn't hold back her sigh. An illusion. No, it's real. He looks a bit unwell, but I can clearly see his shadow and form. Hey, you! What are you doing up there? When she nervously tried to call out to him, the man jumped and turned around. And then he looked at Okuni with eyes full of fear. But before I knew it, I ended up here. Why? There's no reason to go out of your way and stand on the roof, is there? Well, I could feel a comfortable presence from here. After he muttered as much, the man slumped his shoulders dejectedly. He looked like a lost child. You don't have anywhere to go. Then do you want to come with me? Is that okay? It's a small room, but it's enough space for you to sleep, at least. I'm in a bit of a troublesome business, but, well, you'll just have to put up with that. Anyway, we'll discuss the details when you're inside. Oh, right. What's your name, honey? Hibie.
She's like, I'm going to take in a lost little stray and then fall in love with him.
After that, Okuni and Hibie's bizarre cohabitation began. Unlike normal humans, Hibie didn't need to eat or to rest, and he could also turn invisible like a ghost. Thanks to that, Okuni was also able to keep Hibie a secret from everyone while hiding him away. And then, after spending a few days with him, perhaps because they were getting closer and closer, Hibie started to talk about himself in bits and pieces. Normally my heart is always full of hatred. And by the time I notice it, my hatred and emotional imprints tie together and give birth to a blightfall, even though I don't want to do anything like that.
So this is interesting because in every other... I don't remember him saying that when we... Well, I mean, like, I feel like Okuni tried to paint a better picture of him, like he wasn't total evil, at least not to her. But it's like he's always been like, kill everyone, stab you, you know? And like now he's like, I get really angry and then Blightfall happens and I don't want it to, man. Like, you know?
Huh, interesting. Even when I confess my feelings to my friend,
He didn't listen to me at all. He wants me to create more Blightfall, I think.
See, okay, who's his friend? Is your friend Otaro? Is Otaro the one that's trying to control you? You're supposed to be controlling him! Wait a minute! Well, now, wait. Oh my god, this is getting crazier. I love my crazy theories. Okay. If Otaro is somehow tied to the Hakuseki clan and has Hakuseki clan powers, would he be able to control Hibie? Because you know it's not Tanichibo controlling Hibie. Somebody gave Tanichibo the Magatama that lets him control Blightfalls. And we've assumed the whole time it's Hibie, but now Hibie is like someone's controlling him. And I don't remember if they made that kind of thing come out when we were in Kinji's route. You know? If he said this like somebody else wants me to create Blightfall, we were like, is he just faking it? I don't quite remember, but... Or did he say this and we were like, is it Otaro? Because we've been sus of Otaro. Okay, shit's getting crazier. So I want to live here forever. I'll be fine if I'm by your side, even if I'm tied up by the threads. But living with Hibie was not easy for Okuni. Whether or not it was due to staying with an entity like Hibie, Okuni's health had slowly begun to worsen. At times she'd even lose some of her memories. Aw. He must have noticed what was happening. Yet another few days after that, Hibie suddenly disappeared. That's actually, I mean, they make it, like, you're making him kind of sweet. It's, like, kind of adorable, because he, like, he disappears because he doesn't want to hurt her. Aw. That's adorable. Are you going to give us a villain who's not, like, just a big bad evil, who, like, is a big bad evil, but he doesn't want to be? Because that's kind of, like, I kind of like that. Like, you know? He might be overcome with his rage and evilness. And then you're going to have to put him down, but you're like, but he wanted to be better. He just couldn't manage it, you know? Okuni had reunited with Hibie a month later, just the other day. When she went to go watch the public parade to witness Ruriko's final moments, Hibie had appeared. Now, we're taking her word for it that all of this is true, you know? Worse yet, Hibie was being ordered by his friend to attack more and more people. Hibie, is that you? Just what are you doing? Why did you disappear without saying anything? And then, but the thing is like they're saying his friend as if it's Tanichibo. But I don't think. I mean, Tanichibo, was he really in charge of Hibie? I mean, he did kind of sort of free him, I guess, and it did seem like he was controlling him. But I can't imagine Tanichibo actually being in control of fucking anything. Plus, he was being puppeteered. We know that in his own, like, not in his own route, but in the Samurai Town Common route, right? Someone gave him the Magatama. Someone else told him, like, oh, you might be Lord Yoshimine's illegitimate bastard son, whatever, to kind of like, and I feel like that was a ploy to get him to then kind of come here and then end up with the Magatama and come up with these crazy plans to try to prove himself, and then, you know, whatever. So, if we're kind of taking all of that as canon, like, whatever, even if he ends up, quote unquote, being able to control Hibie, he's not the one that started this. Even if he's got something that's controlling Hibie and he's making Hibie do these things, someone else gave him that ability. Tanichibo didn't just magic it. He's too stupid for that. Alright, let's be real. He's stupid. Like, he's a great character. He's really fun, but he's an idiot. So he could never have come up with this on his own. Right? You know? So, it was always like, Hibie's puppeteering him, but is it like like, he thinks he's in control? Like, Tanichibo thinks he's in control, but he's really not? You know? Or someone else is actually somehow tethered down. Well, we did see, remember, we saw the Hakuseki threads on when Hibie was here and then it broke, right? And when he showed up only
Otaro's somehow tied to the Hakuseki clan because he could see threads, so there's something sus about that. But like, if he's really puppeteering the whole thing, why? What the fuck? It's crazy. Anyway, I tried to call out to him from the crowd, but Hibiye didn't react at all. My voice should be able to reach him. Could he have lost his sanity because of those threads he mentioned? As Okuni thought that, more and more spectators around her disintegrated into black threads. That same threat was also approaching Okuni. Hibiye, be strong! Remember who you are! Remember that you don't want to do this! I kind of find it interesting that in Kinji's route, like Okuni was like, yes, of course I'm gonna help him, and she helped him be evil, and now it's like she's trying to help him be better? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, there's a fine line when you have somebody like Okuni, who's just a decent person put in a crappy situation, and Hibiye, who was a god who now is like, however the fuck evil he is, whether he's evil because he likes it or something bad like like in this case, like he's trying to control the evil tendencies, but someone else is somehow puppeteering him, or he just can't keep control of the negative emotions and thoughts. Okay. And in Kinji's route, it was almost like those negative thoughts and everything kind of overpowered him. And Okuni was like, "Hi, cool, I'm gonna go with you and help you out." And she did some evil sus shit for him. Whereas in this one, he's trying to fight it and she's like, "No, you can do it!" And she's making him better. Where in Kinji's, he made her worse. Like, I kind of like that balance because, like, there's a fine line between that when you have, like, a decent person and a shady person. Like, who's going to win out in that little battle, you know? Who's going to make, how much worse is he going to make her and how much better can she make him? And, like, you know, are they going to balance or, you know what? So, it's an interesting dynamic. I like it. I'm begging you, Hibiye. In that last minute, Hibiye noticed me. I'm still here thanks to that. Was that what happened? Speaking of which, during the public parade, Lord Hibiye seemed different for a split second. I guess that was because he saw Okuni. Still, I hadn't imagined that we'd get information on Lord Hibiye in a place like this. When I first heard about it, I even almost mistook Okuni for an enemy. Well, she did become one in Kinji's route, but again, it's one of those like slightly different circumstances change the whole outcome, which again, I like it. So like it seems like right now they're leaning into she's trying to help Hibiye be better, and even though Hibiye's always seemed to be the big bad evil, maybe he's really not the big bad evil. He's just the shield hiding the big bad evil. Or someone controlling him, making him the big bad evil, because he's a god, so he got the evil powers. But in the end, Okuni and Lord Hibiye had simply connected as people. I mean, it's still kind of adorable. You're like, this is like another side romance that I'm here for. Like, let me get this straight. So Hibiye isn't on board with taking over Ito? Otaro, you mad that he's fucking up your plans? I'm just gonna tell you something. If Otaro ends up being somehow behind this, I'm literally gonna laugh because I don't. Do I want to believe it? Yes, because I think it'd be fun. Do I really believe it? I don't know. He's sus, but I don't. I'm still trying to figure out how or the why, but that's what them telling us is for, you know? But now that you mention it, there was still a thread from the Hakuseki clan around his finger, even though it snapped so quickly during the ghost stories. If what Okuni is telling us is true, someone might be forcing Lord Hibiye to obey their commands with that thread. And, I mean, you'd say, okay, maybe it's not Otaro because it's some other... I mean, it could be our mom. Oh, man, then that's valid. Wait a minute. I mean, okay. It could be because in... Oh, my... Tominari's route. My brain is like, it's like T, and all I can think is Tanichibo. I'm like, that's not Tominari's name, but in Tominari's route, we were gonna go look for our mother, and he's like, no, don't. And then like we went, and like we never resolved any of that, right? I mean, it could have just been like, oh, we're gonna go out and look for our family, you know, and that was just to spurn Tominari figuring out that he was our form folk and everything and figuring out his backstory, sure. But I feel like they left it open. Even at the end, they brought it up again. And it's like, okay, so they make it seem like, is it possible our mom's alive? And this would be the only place that you're going to find out if she is. So she could very well be, and she could be controlling Hibie. Because remember, she ran away from the Hakuseki clan, and we found out they came and kidnapped me, and then she and my dad went after them, whatever, so she could have some, like, fucking guns out for them and be like, fuck them, and that could be why they're all dead. If she somehow got control of Hibie and all of her negative energy she's feeding into him, and he's like, I don't want to do this, you know? I mean, he's the god of broken bonds, right? And you would think you losing your husband and child, even though they're still alive, but they're torn away from you, and you're gonna go after and kill all your fucking clan and everybody that you ever knew. I mean, that's some broken bonds right there. I don't know. I don't know if that has a play in it, like why he'd be easier to control for her. And, you know, turning him into a Blightfall, doing all this to get revenge, and then she's just slipped into madness and evil and is now fuck everybody. But the thing that about that's kind of cool is like, all right, I can see that. But they barely, I mean, like our mom and dad were dead, and then they brought up our mom in Tominari's route, and then all of a sudden she's going to be here and she's the big bad evil. And it's like, I just feel like that came out of, it almost feels like it came out of nowhere. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess. But somehow Otaro being the big bad evil behind everything is so much more fun. I don't know why. Because Otaro's been around since the beginning, and he's always seemed like goofy and fun and like, okay, peace out, I'm going to leave. And you're like, why are you always peacing out as soon as everything's done? And then for it to just be like, oh, no reason. We just wanted to make him look a little sus, and he's totes fine. But it's really been your mom. And it's like, well, but you had such a great setup. You had such a great setup with these sprinkles of like, what the fuck is up with Otaro for it to be nothing, you know? And then it's her mom. But also, he can see threads. He saw them. So there is something. So he's not just full of nothing, but I don't know. They could be in cahoots together. Who knows? I don't know, but Anyway, if what Okuni is telling us is true, someone might be forcing Lord Hibie to obey their commands with that thread. Wait, he had something like that on him? You know what? Don't act like you didn't know, because you can see threads. Yeah, the thread was hard to see because it was white, but... Whoa, are you serious? That must mean Hibie isn't that bad of a guy. All the more reason to capture Tanichibo. With the new information obtained from Okuni, it became clear who our true opponent was. I don't think Tanichibo's your true opponent, though. He's too stupid, but they don't know him that well yet, so fair enough. But also, Otaro being like, well then, obviously Hibie ain't that bad. I mean, it's one thing to be like, wait, so he had a threat on him, so you think he's being controlled. So, like, maybe he's not really evil. He's just under someone else's control. That's a fair assumption, but well, he's obviously not that bad of a guy. Let's go. That's a sus statement, that's all I'm saying. This is a matter we absolutely need to share with the Oniwabon. Valid. I don't quite understand, but are you two trying to stop Hibie? Yes. That was all I could say to Okuni, who was an outsider. Seeing how Otaro and I didn't attempt to say any more than that, Okuni gave an understanding nod. I'd be like, if we can, I'm like, if he doesn't want to hurt people and we can stop him from doing that and help him, because I mean, we don't know. We could say that to appease her and make her feel better about it.
I see. In that case, please save Hibie. We were only together for a few days, but I still can't forget how pained he was. Okuni clasped her hands in front of her chest as if to hold back the emotions that were welling up.
Again, I know she was bad in Kinji's route, but I really feel that was just like Hibie's whatever is making him evil and angry taking over and infecting her and everything. And it could be too, because remember, she was feeling sick and she can't remember what's happening. And it could just be all of those negative things are impacting her, where then in this case, he pieced out and left her so that she wouldn't get hurt, where before he stayed and then made her go crazy and then whatever. And like, now it's a case of her trying to make him better and like whatever. And I do find it interesting because it was always like, oh, Hibie is always evil. And now you're like, no, actually, is he a little softy? Oh, that's kind of cute. I like it. Aw. And then you think Otaro's the cute little softy and he's really the evil. Oh, to switch the roles. It'd be so much more fun. Come on. Let us have some fun, game. Don't ruin it at the end. You've made it so fun this whole fucking time. Don't cut it. Don't dick us over at the end here.
There was still a bell hour until the usual meeting for the Oniwaban. I used that small slice of time to go to the reference room in the base. After hearing Okuni's story, there was something that I couldn't stop wondering about.
Speezy, what's wrong? What are we doing here all of a sudden?
I wanted to do some research on the threads. Lord Hibie, who didn't actually want to seek revenge, was bound by threads. When I reached that conclusion, I realized that I barely had any knowledge on the threads of the Hakuseki clan. I used it without a second thought during the round of 100 ghost stories, but just what kind of sorcery made it possible to restrict someone by tying a thread? I'm doing this on my own. It's okay to go rest up. I'm sure you must be tired from walking all day.
No, I'll go with you. I'm pretty interested in the threads too, and I want to help you out. I gotta make sure that I might have to kill you if you find out information.
I don't think you're faking having feelings for me, but I don't think you want me to find the information if you're sus. It does get confusing about that. If you're secretly sus, then how are you in love with... I don't know, you know what I mean? Thank you. I felt pathetic that I couldn't look directly at that bright smile of his. I was happy he was being kind to me, but with how my feelings had changed recently, I felt oddly nervous we're going to be alone in stacks of paper. Just saying. You could pin me up against one of these. No, I should stop thinking about Otaro. In any case, I should be researching the threads right now. When I strained my eyes and looked, I spotted some documents pertaining to the Hakuseki clan in the shelves. I immediately reached out for them.
Oh, what is it? Show me too!
And straight away, Otaro innocently leaned his body towards me to get a look at the documents. When he did so, his fluffy hair tickled my cheek. So close! His hair is so soft. Ah! Calm down! I became desperate, focusing on the documents in my hands so that my heart wouldn't be led astray. Unless he's trying to lead our heart astray and he knows exactly what he's doing. Look at that face. Doesn't that face say, I know exactly what I'm doing to you? It does. It absolutely does, you sly motherfucker. What was written on the first page could be summarized as thus. The Hakuseki clan was born with the God-given destiny to defeat the Blightfall. It said their hair and skin are pure white to represent the divinity inside of them. Long ago, they settled sparsely across the country. One day they began returning to their homeland. However, they eventually perished. Their signature powers were the Snow Sacrament, which allowed them to exercise corruption and the ability to see emotions as threads. I mean, here's the thing. So they say that the Snow Sacrament and the ability to see threads. Okay. Well, the vessels have the ability to use the Snow Sacrament. So, to be fair, you wouldn't think it's weird that a vessel could see threads because Hibina taught Lord Yoshimune how to make vessels to be able to use
Hakuseki type powers, the Snow Sacrament, to defeat the Blightfall in the place of the Hakuseki clan. So I guess they could write it off with Otaro as like, oh, he's just also some kind of weird special and he can see threads where other vessels for some reason can't, you know? And it could be because whatever object he was something that was belonging to a member of the Hakuseki clan or something. So he has extra ties to them or something. I mean, they could seriously write it off like that because again, like um we have memories, Yoichi has memories. So I mean, not they're not all 100% the same. And two of them were originally form folk. One that was probably, I mean, Kyoshiro was probably form folk directly turned into a vessel, and Tominari was form folk who died and then was reincarnated as a vessel. So, like, it's not all cut and dry. So, but that again, that wouldn't be as fun. It'd be like, oh, all right, sure, I guess. Can't we just skim this bit? Lord Yoshimune explained all this when we first started. You're right, let's move on. It said that members of the Hakuseki clan mostly relied on the production of silk to earn a living. Their pure white silks appeared as though they had woven their hair into it, and aside from being used in textiles, were also prized as warding charms. Okay, so that could be like maybe something, maybe whatever Otaro's made from was some piece of something silk that has Hakuseki hair woven into it, and that's why he can see threads, and that's why he's special and different. Oh, this sash that was me, or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Okay. Still not as exciting as it could be, but interesting nonetheless. These were imbued with the powers of the Snow Sacrament. The threads that we used during the 100 Ghost Stories. It was probably this, right? Yeah, I think so. One of the reasons why the Hakuseki clan perished was because people of the clan were often kidnapped for their unusual and beautiful appearance, which surpassed that of normal humans. Particularly during the Hoei era. Hoei era? There's a lot of, I don't know. Blightfall sightings were a thing of the past. Even if their numbers had diminished, no one seemed to care. Well, that's brutal. Humans sure have a cruel side to them. I mean, now we're getting a little more into, like, why someone might be pissed trying to, like, kill off humans. Wait, there's still something written here. Another reason the Hakuseki clan declined was because they were unable to accept outsiders. Were the clan's bloodline to become thinner, so too would the power of the Snow Sacrament. But as a result, the number of clan members gradually diminished until there were only enough to fill a single settlement. What an annoying rule. In Edo, people can even get married to form folk if they want to. Or like, vessels. They absolutely needed to have pure-blooded descendants, so they probably didn't have much choice. Someone like me would have probably been seen as a sign of the Hakuseki clan's extinction. With that certainty in mind, I flipped to the next page. Though the Hakuseki clan made a living by eliminating Blightfall, it said they also possessed other unique sensibilities. For example, their feelings toward Blightfall. Generally, Blightfall are firmly considered to be beings destined for destruction. But oddly enough, the Hakuseki clan were sympathetic toward the Blightfall. Not only did they feel sorry for the Blightfall, they were even those who sought to save them. Looks like that's the end of what's written. I see. The information made me feel conflicted, knowing that Lord Yoshimune and the others probably left those details out on purpose. So I feel like there's something important in there about the fact that the Hakuseki clan kind of felt bad for Blightfall. But I mean, if it's a person that turned into a Blightfall instead of being like, kill it, you're like, it's almost like a person who gets ill or whatever. You should help them, not like, oh, well, time to take grandma out back. She has a cold. Let's take her out back and shoot her. You know what I mean? Like, you take Rem out of the hospital. So it's kind of like that. If it's a human or something, if it's something that is just summoned from negative emotion and it like never existed before and it magically comes into existence, it's kind of curious, you know, their thoughts on that. Like, oh, I know it's this spider monster, but I feel bad for it. That's like, but I guess there's weird people who feel bad for like killing cockroaches and shit. And it's like, no, don't be in my motherfucking house, Like, I didn't know that the Hakuseki clan had been in such dire straits. But I wonder why the clan was sympathetic toward the Blightfall. It's not as if any good can come from them existing. I can't stand it anymore. I'm so sleepy. The music cut off and I was like, drama? And then I was like, no, he's just whining. Otaro? When I turned around in surprise at his voice, Otaro gave a big stretch before lying down on the spot. Hold on, Otaro! You shouldn't lie down here! It's just so boring reading words all day, I'm so tired and sleepy. My jaw is gonna get stuck from all this yawning. Because they did the and I was like, he's yawning, and I couldn't get through that without actually yawning. I'm sorry. It adds to the vibe. Atara placed his cheek on his hand, getting into a full-on resting position. There's definitely something wrong with you. Then he once again turned his head to me. His fluffy hair is in front of me again. Speaking of, when I pet him last time, it did feel really nice. I remembered the sensation from that time as my gaze drifted to the palm of my hand. After he saw that, Otaro glanced up at me. Are you gonna pet my head? Huh? You can pet me all you want right now, I'm not gonna get angry anymore. Otaro glanced at me over and over, speaking as if he was talking to himself. I'm not gonna pet you just because you said that. Maybe you thought I was serious when I said I'd bite you? I didn't. Anyway, I already said I'm not gonna pet you. Okay. You're really missing out, though. What a shame. As I tried to deny it with all my might, for some reason, Otaro was smiling happily. He carefully observed my expression and then... Hey, do you think you like me yet? I can't not love the way he is, though. He's like, are you gonna pet me or what? And you're like, no, come on. He's like, whatever. You like me now? Oh, the shenanigans. Huh? Like him? The words he spoke took me off guard and my heart skipped a beat yet again. Otaro continued to stare at me expectantly, as if he believed that, if he did so, I'd one day reciprocate his feelings. You kind of already do, girl. There was no way I could brush him aside when he asked me so straightforwardly. I probably do like him. It was clear to me after he saved me during the public parade. The moment I thought I was done for, Otaro came for me. I felt so relieved, and yet my heart was beating so fast. I'd always thought that it was fun to be with him, but after he confessed, I started noticing it even more. I probably liked Otaro for a while now. But if there was even a slim chance that Otaro's heart would return, I couldn't risk being honest about how I felt. What should I do? How should I answer him? Risk it for the biscuit. It'd be rude to dodge the question, but if I acknowledged it, that would also be a problem. As the thoughts circled frantically in my head, I flipped through the documents in my hands again. But in my head, none of the sentences made any sense. They appeared only as rows upon rows of text. Spacey, are you listening? I'm listening, but... Wait, didn't you already read those papers? Why are you reading them again? These are... they're nothing. I suspected that he saw through to my panic. It was embarrassing to admit, so I frantically returned the papers to their original shelf. Huh. Coincidentally, the name of the notebook right next to it caught my eye. How to make a vessel? I didn't know they compiled this kind of thing into a notebook. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, Yuichi told us the real deal during the 100 ghost stories. So glad my body isn't some guy's corpse.
It seemed that I'd managed to change the topic. I felt relieved, yet also somewhat sad as my hands naturally picked up the notebook.
Oh god, if you open that and it says they used somebody's corpse, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. But the thing is like I don't feel like that's hard to believe because well, they were all born from objects. But like okay, Otaro's whole thing, right? If that were true, how do you explain Kyoshiro? Because Kyoshiro was a form folk, right? And then whatever happened, he turned into a vessel. And then when he died as a vessel and then he came back as a form folk, he has the exact same appearance. He was a form folk. Form folk are made like magic. Okay? They're not made from a dead body. So, like, unless it's like, well, okay, so Tominari and Kyoshiro were made from form folk. They were objects that had turned into form folk, so they already had a body, kind of, sort of. But the rest of y'all, corpses. You know what I mean? And then that's also kind of like, it also feels weird because then you're like, so they're all zombies? And then they magically become human again? Like, I don't know if I believe that. And I feel like now would be the wrong time to put that in and try to make me believe it because nothing else was really suspicious about the other vessels. And like, why would you have two that were form folk that were turned into vessels and then try to tell me that the only way to make a vessel is with a dead body? You know what I mean? Like, you're like, well, because that seems far fetched and kind of bullshit. So, but they're gonna open this notebook and there's gonna be something in here and like Otaro's story and like there's gonna be something. Something shady's gonna happen here. I don't trust it. Anyway, skimming through the pages, written in detail was what Yorichi had told us before. It seemed Otaro never intended to look at it as he was lying down next to me. Okay, I was really concerned that they were gonna be like, wait. There's information written here about the Hakuseki clan's thread, too. Upon closer inspection, some pretty interesting information was written there. Okay, so it's more about the threads instead of like, oh my god, no, they used dead bodies. Don't even. I'm not gonna lie, they had me concerned for a second. I was like, you can't try to tell me that now. Apparently, they also used the thread when creating a vessel. Yoichi mentioned that they tied the body to the tool, so the thread was likely used then. So again, like, I mean, that could also point to something happening in the process when they were doing it with Otaro, why he's able to see threads. You know what I mean? Okay. By infusing the threads with the soothsayer's power, it apparently forcibly bound together the spirit and the body, which normally would have been separate. The theory was to use the power of the clan's protective deity, the god of connecting ties. The process would then force their destinies to become intertwined. Well, I mean, forged bonds, that is Hibina, so okay, makes sense. I considered the don't lie command that was necessary during the 100 ghost stories, and I realized that the key to using the thread was a strong will. Which also means Lord Hibie's thread is proof that he's bound by Tanichibo's powerful intent. Well, not Tanichibo's. In order to free Lord Hibie, we have to first cut that thread. If I could overpower Tanichibo's feelings toward Lord Hibie with my own, then would I be able to cut it? We might have stumbled upon a new hint. I just happened to pick up the notebook, but I was truly glad that I'd read it. There's still more in the notebook? With the creation of vessels explained, the book should have been finished. Thinking it suspicious, I flipped through the pages. Surprisingly, there was a list of all the vessels that had worked in the Oniwaban. I was going to say, like, wouldn't it have, like, detailed information on the vessel themselves and what they were made from? Or would that have been in a different log? So no, it's here, okay. There were dozens upon dozens of names listed. What tool they were born from, how long they were affiliated with the Oniwaban, what their cause of death was. Information about each member was written in extensive detail. Otaro's actually dead, and then that's why he thinks he's created from a dead body is because he died, and then they brought him back. Amazing. So many vessels have been part of the Oniwaban, but there are only a few vessels alive now. That means all the others died in the battle against the Blightfall. As I flip through the pages with conflicted emotions, I happen to reach Otaro's page. So it would have been funnier, like, Kinji is, wow, really, like the first. Kinji was one of the first. I don't think they said he was the first. But, like, you think Kyoshiro would have also been one of the first, if not the first, so. Otaro had entered the Oniwaban about 5 years ago. It said that the tool that was his origin was a heat pack. Okay, all right, so when he had the heat pack in his hand, right, and then it was cut in two, in like what the last part of the one before, I don't know, and I was like, okay, obviously they made the point of mentioning that, and I was like, obviously, I don't know if I said it out loud, but I was thinking to myself at least that like, oh, well, that obviously wasn't his object because they made a point of mentioning it, and I'm like, then he would have died, right? But now we're saying that that heat pack was him and it got cut in half. So how the fuck is he still alive? I told you he was sus as fuck! Again, not sure how or why, but like, oh! Man, sometimes I think things in my head and I wish I said them out loud. This is why sometimes I say the same things 42 times, because I don't remember. Did I tell you? Did I say this out loud? Did I postulate this to you, or was I only thinking it? But when they specifically mentioned it, so I was like thinking like, oh no, he's gonna die because the heat pack got cut and that was him, right? Because otherwise, why would they mention it? And it was like, oh, it was just the heat pack that was in his pocket, like whatever, no big deal. And it was like, oh, okay, I guess not, because otherwise they would have made a big, like, they would have mentioned it. But it was like, oh, well, I mean, I guess it's just to throw you off or something, right? But no, now it's coming back. Well, shit. I didn't think when he whipped it out and he had us hold it or whatever that it was him. It was just like, oh, he has a heat pack in his hand. But like when they said they sliced through it or whatever, I was like, uh-oh. And then he was fine. I was like, oh, never mind. Like, oh man. Damn, I wish I had said it out loud. Huh. A heat pack. You think you can get away like that? Yeah, this part. Okay, it wasn't the last part then, I guess. An image of the small heat pack that fell out during the battle against Tunichibo flashed across my mind. I remembered it well, since the look of it being split in two left a tragic impression on me. If the tool that forms their origin's broken, the vessel will die. It was considered common knowledge among the Oniwaban. Otaro? Huh? What? I hurriedly turned around and Otaro looked up at me in a relaxed manner. The color of his face was so healthy that it was difficult to imagine that his tool, his weak point, had broken. Why? Does that mean it wasn't damaged enough to count as being broken? No, instead of obsessing about the little details, see, so something's sus about him, but why? What is it? What? That's it. Otaro, take out your heat pack. You have it, right? Yeah? Regardless, checking it would be the fastest solution. Pressured by my fervor, Otaro pushed himself up and started searching through his pockets. The thing is, well, he could have had two. But his actions immediately ground to a halt. Sorry. It might not be in any condition to lend out. That's fine. Please let me see it. I did my best to peer at Otaro's hands as he tried to hide them. The thing is Otaro knows what object he's made from, so he doesn't know that we know. Surprisingly, the heat pack held in Otaro's hand was completely split in two. As I expected, what I'd witnessed wasn't a trick of the mind. It was real. Otaro, your heat pack is broken. That's right. It broke the other day. I thought of getting it fixed, but there's been a lot going on, and I didn't have the time. Is your body okay? Yeah. I mean, nothing's out of the ordinary. And then Otaro, while smiling brightly, returned the heat back into his pockets. Phew. So his body is fine. Huh. But that's weird. are you okay?
What?
If this notebook is correct, you're a vessel formed from a heat pack, right? How are you okay when your tool is broken?
Huh?
When I opened up the corresponding page and showed it to him, Otaro stared at it with his mouth hanging open. Do you not, like, everybody else knows what object they're made from?
That's what was written on those documents?
Yeah? He looks so sus right now. Oh god, what's about to happen? And Otaro furrowed his brows as if troubled, because we figured shit out. But he quickly regained his wits, and with a mature smile I had never seen before, he slowly stood up. Oh god, is shit about to go down? Oh my god!
Well, whatever. Then let me ask you a question, Spacey. Why do you think I'm perfectly fine? I should have died the moment that tool that formed my real body was broken, right?
See, he has such a suspicious fucking face. That is such a shady motherfucking look on your face. Right? So you feel like they're leading up to something like, oh god, some kind of shady ass reveal. But honestly, you know the simplest fucking answer, aside from he's shady as fuck, is what happens when a vessel's heart and everything like that's unsealed and everything like that. We saw with Tojo and everyone else, they become human. So then if their object broke, it wouldn't fucking matter because they're not tethered to that anymore. So if his heart is unsealed, his heart and his memories and everything are completely unsealed, then he'd be like, well, I'm human, so they broke that thing and it doesn't fucking matter anymore. But then why can't we see his threads? So he's still suspicious. So that's a very simple, basic, like, oh, that would totally make sense, but you're acting really sus right now, and why can't I see your threads? All right? So he's still suspicious. Again, it's always like, what level of sus are you? Huh? The atmosphere clearly changed. If he was taking the time to ask this, then could Otaro have been hiding some sort of secret? He's been hiding a secret since the beginning! After thinking about it for a little, I answered. Because it's a different tool. Because you're human. I mean... Right, that could very well have been, that could be it. It's not the heat pack I was created from. I leave that at my house, so I never have it on me. It'll never be in danger if I don't have it on me. That could make sense, but also because you're human. I think it's because he's human now. But the same thing is, because we haven't seen him use the snow sacrament since he told us he loves, but why can't we see his threads? Both of these make total perfect sense. I still think he's sus as fuck. But this is a very simple answer to alleviate this question and make us go, oh, whew, okay. And forget how fucking sus he is. But if he's human, why can't we see his threads? And if it's just a different tool, why is he like, why do you think I'm not dead? Why is he getting shady as fuck? They're both good answers. I don't know which one's right. Because it's a different tool. I mean, that would make more sense, I guess, because if you're human, why can't we see your threads? Could it be that the heat pack isn't the one that makes your real body? And since it has nothing to do with you, it didn't matter if it broke? Congrats, you got it! While I gave him the exact answer that came to my mind, Otaro clapped his hands cheerily. I knew it! Then the real tool that you were formed from is fine! I'm so relieved. I don't know if I believe this 100%, but it makes sense! By the way, what kind of tool...
Like I tell you, you know the question's forbidden, right?
It says heat pack in there, but I'm gonna bet... I really wish that the game would have her read like something about like, oh, Kinji's made from a hairpin. And then you'd be like, so the information in here is right. Or if it said Kinji was made from something else, you'd know, oh, okay. Like, I think he was made from a heat pack. He could have just said, no, I keep like, no, this isn't mine. Like, you know what I mean? Because everyone else has told us, so I thought he was going to say that the heat pack he was made from, he just doesn't keep on him. But now I'm thinking he's like, no, I can't tell you. That information in there is not the truth. Because why would they bother writing down the wrong information? That's like you writing down your usernames and passwords for websites and keeping them in your drawer, but you write the wrong one down just in case anybody finds it. What would be the point of writing them down then? I mean, you shouldn't write your passwords down, just FYI. But you know what I mean? Like, what would be the point of keeping a log with information? Or, like, what's the point of, like, your checkbook having your checking account number on it if it's not actually your checking? You know what I mean? You're like, I'm gonna give you $10, but this really isn't $10. It says $10 on it, but it's not real. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, you don't keep accurate records by putting false information. You know? So, like, unless they have, like, a code where, like, a hand warmer means a scarf, and a scarf means a hairpin, and you know what I mean? But then everybody has to know. It's not, it's just, so I think he's lying now. I thought he was going to say, oh, I don't keep that one on me. This is a different one. But, this isn't the heat pack I was made from. That one's stored somewhere safe. But now he's like, yeah, no, it was totally made from something else. That information's just bogus, to try to cover it, and he is lying through his motherfucking teeth, and that's why he gave us a shady face. Oh, no, he's definitely shady as fuck. Still don't know what level is shady, but I'm going like, it's pretty shady over here. We don't need to block our eyes from the sun, because he's shady enough to block the sun from us. Oh, it's good. Oh, good. Ooh, it's so much more fun this way. That's right. Tominari told me that as well, didn't he? Well, I felt convinced. Something else felt out of place. But in that case, that means the Oniwaban's documents are wrong. Is that even possible? No. Right. Tominari. What tool did Tominari form from? When I flipped to the very last page, Tominari's information was written there in detail. Of course, the tool he came from was the Inro case that he had shown me before. So it's true. So now we know. This is what I said. All we have to do is flip to somebody else. So we know that Otaro's lying through his teeth. Oh my god, it's so good! I love it so much! Huh. This one's correct. How could that be? Did Tominari, when he showed us the case, tell us right away that that's what he was made from? In the very, very beginning of the game, he might have. Otaro looked on, amused that I was lost in a labyrinth of my own thoughts. You look pretty confused. How about I give you one more hint? Everything written on those documents is true. That made even less sense. No, now now he is whipping out his sus. So that means the tool that Otaro formed from really is the heat pack, right? It's a heat pack, but I feel like if he wasn't shady, he would just be like, oh yeah, no, it's not this one though. Simple answer. Oh, he is fucking with us. Oh my god. And yet he's fine, even when the heat pack is broken. Does that mean he isn't the real Otaro? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's even more interesting! Is he someone who's disguised as Otaro? Oh, I never thought of that! Otaro really was a member of the Oniwaban and somebody killed him and... Oh my god, are you really Hibie? Wait a minute. Are we romancing Hibie right now? Wait, what? When I reached that possibility, a certain scene appeared in my mind. That's terrible. I can't believe they do that to you just because you have a slightly different power. At least you were able to get away from those guys. And from now on, we'll have your back. So if something's up, you can always call us. He's right. She's still alive. Even when she's in this state, Ruriko's body's trying to live. And Tatsunosuke was just about to free her, too. So in that first line that they showed, that's something that he said. Was that in the beginning of the entertainment district route? Or was that in the beginning of the game? She seemed so happy back then.
Huh.
The black threads. Oh, that's true. You know what? I didn't catch that in the beginning of the common route. When he said something about the building and there's nothing but threads, I went, wait a minute, how does he see threads? I never caught this in the entertainment route, common route, where he mentioned the black threads. Shit, I missed that.
Should we check inside just in case?
No, there's no need for that. I checked this place out before. A lot of emotional imprints, but nothing else stuck out as weird to me.
I'm curious about that first line that he knew something about us. I feel like I know the answer. There's also a chance that you can't tell me the tool that you come from because it doesn't exist in the first place. Could you be a member of the Hakuseki clan? You should see my stupid fucking... This is my... You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward face? Because that's exactly... What did I say when I said he could see threads? He has something to do with the Hakuseki clan. As I explained what I came up with, Otaro's eyes widened in surprise. Otaro, you're a really emotional person. Even though your heart's supposed to have been sealed away, you were able to form a connection. Oh, we were able to form a connection. Yuichi taught me that vessels are good at acting in that way. But even so, I feel like you show way too many emotions. So I thought maybe you could be a member of the Hakuseki clan pretending to be a vessel named Otaro.
Then let me ask you a question. With your eyes, can you see the threads of my emotions?
Yeah, see, that's the part that's confusing me. After he said that, Otaro raised his chin to display his neck as if flaunting it. There wasn't a single familiar thread there. The only thing wrapped around his neck was a fashionable braided rope. Maybe that's got something in it that's, inhibiting your powers. Braided rope, a cord made by braiding together thin strands of silk or cotton. Not that I can tell.
See? If you can't see the threads, it's impossible for me to be anything other than a vessel, right? How do you plan on explaining that?
It's true. Other than vessels, I haven't met a single person whose threads I couldn't see. You've never met another Hakuseki clan member, though. There you go.
Right? Then...
But I don't think you can assume that someone's a vessel just because I can't see their threads.
Huh? What do you mean?
The Hakuseki clan can see threads like I can, right? Then they might know a method to prevent other members of the clan from seeing their threads. Otherwise, it'd be difficult to live in a settlement.
Well, that might be true. I can't say anything for certain since I don't know how the Hakuseki clan really were. So what about my appearance? Explain why my hair and skin isn't white.
I mean, you could just use me as proof. Even if the blood of the clan runs in your veins, it doesn't seem to affect your appearance unless you're pure-blooded.
Right.
And I have one more reason to believe that you're a member of the Hakuseki clan. Otaro, you can see emotional imprints, can't you?
What did you say?
Before Ruriko became a Blightfall and a couple of other incidents, you said some things that sounded like you could. I didn't think too closely about it then, but it's impossible for anyone other than a member of the Hakuseki clan to have said those things. This is probably not the place to be saying this shit to him, because we're alone in a small room and nobody's here, and we gotta go to a meeting, and then we're gonna get kidnapped, and oh fuck.
Oh man, did I say something like that?
Otaro scratched his head awkwardly at what I pointed out. Oh, he is so sus as fuck! Spacey feels very vindicated that she pegged him to being sus as fuck. Again, I missed when he said the black threads about Ruriko, because, I mean, it didn't seem weird that, like, maybe if they're totally enveloping her, but at the same time, when Miharu was covered with them, everybody else was like, what's going on? And we're like, all the black threads around her, and they're like, we see nothing. So they did absolutely make it a point to specifically call out that even when the black threads are completely amassed around a person, unless they're actually unless they've turned into a Blightfall, nobody can see them. So him mentioning that should have
sent off a light bulb, but I think they put it in there in passing because like there's instances so many times before where you've seen people covered in black threads and whatever and like, oh my God, this person's covered in black threads and then they become a black and like whatever that it just kind of goes right over your head. So interesting. Hmm. Although, and I'm not sure when he said, oh, just because you had other different powers or whatever, but that kind of was an innocuous statement, I think, on its own, because I don't even remember the context of what we were saying to him when they brought that one back up now, when or where that happened. And I was like, yeah, I don't think there's any way I would have pegged that as like, that's sus as fuck. It would have just been like, oh, okay, whatever. So, oh, damn. Damn. But him at the second, everyone's like, they could do whatever, and he disappears. It's like, yep. Yep, he's been sus since that. That's the thing that made him sus to me, but okay. Otaro scratched his head awkwardly at what I pointed out. If he wasn't denying it, then did it mean I was correct? My heart was pounding in my chest at Otaro's suggestive attitude. Otaro, are you a member of the Hakuseki clan? Someone like me, born to a normal human? Though I did my best to murmur the words calmly, I couldn't hide the trembling in my voice. Then you really are the one controlling Hibiye, I would guess. Are you my half-brother? Holy shit, wait, is my mom still alive and are you my brother? Because, like, oh, I'm definitely into this. How to get Spacey to commit 100%. No, I'm here for this regardless, even if you're not my brother. This is amazing. Good times, game. Good job. I thought I was alone in this world, so I couldn't suppress my emotions at the reality that there was someone just like me. Yeah, and she's like, are you like me? And going to be excited and not be like, just pretend that you don't think that he's sus as fuck. And when I noticed the way I felt, I realized that I had been feeling more loneliness than I had imagined. As I waited nervously for his answer, Otaro gave me a bright smile. It was completely different from his usual innocent smile. One that was mature, almost prescient. Prescient? Too bad. You're way off. Huh? As he muttered that, Otaro placed his hand to the braid tied around his neck. The moment he roughly untied the knot... Is he a fucking Blightfall? Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Oh, look at this CG! Oh no, he just evil. He's just controlling Blightfall. Are you a Blightfall? Wait a minute. I don't even know, but this is amazing. I mean, you can still see threads though, so I caught that. But like, a large mass of black threads poured out from Otaro's neck. This isn't fun CG though. He's having way too much fun here. This is so good. Oh, I love the fact that you're sus as fuck. Oh, I love that you are sus as fuck. They spread like a tidal wave and, forming a tangled mess, attached themselves to the walls and floor. In a heartbeat, the room had been invaded with so many black threads that there wasn't even any space to walk. A normal human couldn't contain such a quantity of black threads. Which meant, I'm a Blightfall. We're in love with a Blightfall. That is... fucking insane! Okay, how are they gonna fucking work around this? Was he the real Otaro and then something happened and he became a Blightfall and he's just been hiding it and we're going to be able to get rid of the Blightfall and get real Otaro back? Because you can, like, purge people without killing them of the Blightfall stuff because we did that to Ruriko and stuff like that. So, okay, so I'm assuming that's how I'm like, how the fuck are we going to work around this? Okay. All right. Otaro spread his arms without a care in the world, wearing a bewitching smile on his face. That is a perfect way to end this part. This is amazing. This is actually better than I expected. You know what I mean? Like, man, holy, there was really only one choice in that chapter. Wow. I mean, I knew he was sus as fuck, and we didn't know the level. This is actually bad. I mean, him being able to see the threads makes sense if you're a Blightfall that you could see them. Sure. But like, damn. So are you? Who's controlling you? Okay, all right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But this is fucking exciting. Good job, game. I am riveted. I am here for this. I have got to get the bird a potty break while we wrap this part up. But oh my god, Otaro, I knew you were sus, but like, I don't think I expected him to be a Blightfall. You know what I mean? A member of the Hakuseki clan, the fucking somehow being the big bad evil. He is a big bad evil, but what level in the hierarchy of evil are you? And if Hibiye doesn't want to be being evil and you seem totally okay with being evil, it makes it seem like you're actually the puppet master. But how did you become a Blightfall to become a... Anyway, we'll figure that out. But I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.